Have you ever watched a room change without anyone saying a word? A man walks in, nothing flashy, no performance, no look at me energy. He doesn't scan for approval. He doesn't try to be liked, and still heads turn, not because he's loud, but because he has weight. Here's the part most people don't want to hear. If you don't have that kind of presence, you usually don't get rejected. You get overlooked, ignored, talked over, taken lightly, and that quiet disrespect slowly teaches you to shrink. But this isn't fixed by louder confidence, better jokes, or fake charisma. Real magnetism is self-command. It's the ability to stay calm when others react, to move with intention when others perform, to hold your frame when the world tries to pull you into its chaos. That's why the Stoics were dangerous in the best way. They didn't chase attention, they built character so strong, attention followed. Welcome to Stoic Inspire, where we don't build a louder life, we build a stronger one. In this episode, I'm giving you 11 socially attractive habits inspired by Stoic wisdom. Habits that make you quietly unforgettable without trying to impress anyone. Not manipulation, not confidence hacks, not a personality mask. This is the inner structure that people feel before you speak. And stay with me, because one habit near the end is so subtle most men ignore it. Yet it's the difference between being tolerated and being respected. Now, let's start with a habit that instantly separates the forgettable from the unforgettable. Habit 1. Embrace authentic independence. Here's the habit that decides whether people lean in or quietly lose interest. Stop needing permission to be yourself, because the moment a person senses you're chasing approval, something flips. They may still smile, they may still talk to you, but deep down, they stop taking you seriously. Picture this. You're in a group, someone cracks a joke at your expense. You laugh a little too hard, just to prove you're cool. Or you change your opinion mid-sentence because you feel the room disagreeing. Or you start explaining your choices like you're defending yourself in court. That's not confidence, that's negotiation. And the world can smell negotiation. At Stoic Inspire, we call the opposite inner sovereignty. The quiet ability to stand on your own feet mentally and emotionally, even when nobody claps for you. Why this is so attractive? Most people live on borrowed identity. They borrow confidence from compliments. They borrow worth from attention. They borrow direction from trends, and when those things disappear, they collapse. So when someone meets a man who's steady, not easily impressed, not easily offended, not easily pulled by the mood of the room, it feels rare, not cold, reliable. And reliability is hard to ignore. The Stoics were ruthless about this. If your self-worth depends on what you can't control, you're not free. You can't control applause. You can't control approval. You can't control whether someone gets you. But you can control your standards, your actions, your discipline, your character. That's why authentic independence shows up before you speak. In your posture, your pace, your eye contact, and especially in your ability to be alone without looking lost. The hard truth. You're not afraid of being alone. You're afraid of not being chosen. That's why people chase validation like oxygen. If they approve, I'm safe. If they like me, I'm valuable. If they choose me, I'm real. But independence breaks that addiction. It says, I will not hand my self-worth to a crowd. I will not trade my peace for acceptance. I will not shrink to fit someone else's comfort. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop needing to be chosen, you become the type of person others naturally choose. How to build authentic independence. 3 practices. This isn't a mindset you think into existence. It's a habit you train, like strength. 1. Build a private code. Write 5 rules you don't break, even when nobody is watching. Examples. I don't lie to look impressive. I don't chase people who disrespect me. I don't speak down on others to bond with the room. I don't abandon my goals because I'm in a mood. When you live by a code, you stop asking, will they like me? You ask, does this match who I decided to be? 2. Practice solitude without escape. Most people are alone, but never actually alone. Phone, noise, scrolling. Start small, 10 minutes a day with no screen. A walk with no music. 1 page of honest journaling. If you can sit with yourself without running, you become unshakable. Because now you're not controlled by emptiness. 3. Detox from overexplaining. Overexplaining is a hidden plea. Please approve of me. Independent people communicate clearly, then let it stand. No paragraphs, no begging to be understood. If someone misjudges you, you don't panic. You keep moving. The silent result. When you embrace authentic independence, you stop chasing the room, and something changes. Your presence gets heavier. Your words carry more weight because you don't waste them. Your attention becomes valuable because you don't give it away to anyone who asks. People feel it, even if they can't name it. So ask yourself the Stoic question, are you living by your values or by the reactions of others? Because the moment you choose your inner compass over external approval, you stop being someone who seeks attention and you become someone who naturally commands it. Now, habit 2 is how you carry that independence in your body, the art of silent elegance. Habit 2. Practice silent elegance. Independence is how you think. Elegance is how that shows up in your body. You've seen the opposite. Someone walks in and instantly starts performing. Fast movements, loud laugh, hands flying everywhere. Every gesture is just a little too big, every reaction a little too dramatic. It doesn't feel confident. It feels like they're auditioning for approval. Now contrast that with someone who moves slower. No rush, no fidgeting, no desperate scanning of the room. They sit, stand, and speak like they have nowhere else to be. Same room, same people, completely different weight. That's silent elegance, the art of moving in a way that tells the world, I am not in a hurry to prove myself. Why this is quietly powerful. Most people's bodies are always leaking anxiety, feet tapping, eyes darting, phone checking every few seconds. Nervous smiles to fill silence. It sends a loud message. I'm not comfortable inside my own skin unless something is distracting me. But when your body is calm and intentional, it does the opposite. It signals stability. You don't snatch attention with noise. You earn it with composure. The Stoics understood this deeply. They trained themselves to be steady in chaos, not just in private calm. Because if your mind is disciplined but your body is frantic, people won't feel your strength. They'll feel your tension. Silent elegance makes your independence visible. It's the physical proof that you're not ruled by nerves, mood, or the energy of the room. The common mistakes that kill your presence. Let's be brutally honest. You can talk about Stoicism all day, but if you rush your movements, overreact to every joke, or collapse your posture when someone intimidating enters, you look like you're giving your power away. Not because you're weak, but because your body has been trained by anxiety, not intention. The good news, you can retrain it. How to build silent elegance. 3 physical rules. You don't need to be model-level handsome or perfectly styled. You need to move like you belong wherever you are. Start with these 3. 1. Slow your pace by 20%. Walk, gesture, and turn your head slightly slower than you naturally do. Not in a fake, dramatic way, just enough to feel deliberate. When you reach for a glass, don't snatch it. When you sit down, don't fall into the chair. That slight slowdown tells your nervous system, we are not in danger, we are not chasing anyone. 2. Own your space without puffing up. You don't need to spread out like you're claiming territory. You just need to stop shrinking. Uncross your arms, let your shoulders drop back and down. Plant your feet firmly on the ground when you stand or sit. Think of your body as a pillar, not a question mark. You're not asking, is it okay that I'm here? You're stating, I am here. 3. Hold eye contact, then release first with calm. You don't need to stare people down. That's insecurity in disguise. Instead, when someone speaks to you, look at them fully. Listen. Then when you break eye contact, do it slowly and naturally, not with a quick, guilty glance away. This shows you're engaged, not intimidated. The subtle result people feel. When you practice silent elegance, you stop broadcasting insecurity. You're not twitching for validation. You're not jumping to fill every silence. You're not moving like you're apologizing for existing. Instead, your presence feels settled. Your words feel measured. Your silence feels intentional, not awkward. People won't say, wow, you have silent elegance. They'll just find themselves talking differently around you. Slower, more respectful, more attentive. Because your body is telling them, this is a grounded person, this is someone who won't shatter under pressure. And that is quietly magnetic. Now that your independence is visible in your presence, habit 3 is about the next layer of magnetism, how you use your voice and timing so that when you finally speak, people actually listen. Habit 3, the subtle scent of sophistication. Before a single word leaves your mouth, something else speaks for you. Your scent. You've forgotten most of the words people said to you last month, but you still remember how certain people smelled years ago. A hallway, an elevator, a brief hug or handshake. They walked away, but their presence stayed in the air. Not loud, not choking, not who just drowned in cologne. Just a clean, subtle, refined trace that felt intentional. That's the subtle scent of sophistication, one of the quietest yet most powerful forms of attraction. You don't have to say a word. Your presence arrives before your voice does. The hidden message you're sending right now. Most men treat scent in one of two ways. They ignore it completely. Old clothes, lazy hygiene, random body spray. Or they overcompensate. 5 sprays of something harsh that enters the room before they do. Both send a message. Neglect says, I don't really care how I show up. Overkill says, I'm trying too hard to be noticed. Neither feels grounded. Neither feels stoic. The stoic perspective is different. Your outer order should reflect your inner order. Not flashy, not obsessed, just disciplined and respectful. Even in the details nobody applauds. Scent is one of those details. It quietly answers questions people don't ask out loud. Does this man take care of himself? Does he pay attention to his environment? Does he have standards, even when it's inconvenient? If the answer feels like no, they might not know why, but they'll feel a drop in respect. Sophistication is in the restraint. You don't want a scent that shouts. You want one that leans in. The goal isn't, everyone must notice my fragrance. The goal is, when someone comes close, it feels clean, intentional, and hard to forget. Subtle, greater than strong. Refined, greater than loud. Consistent, greater than random. This isn't about impressing strangers. It's about carrying yourself like a man who lives by a standard, even when no one is watching. How to build a subtly sophisticated scent. 3 simple rules. You don't need a shelf full of expensive bottles. You need a system. 1. Master the clean base first. No fragrance can fix neglect. Daily shower. Fresh clothes, clean breath. Don't mix 10 heavily scented products. Body wash, deodorant, aftershave, spray. Pick 1 or 2 that are mild and clean, so nothing clashes. Think of this as your silent hygiene signature. If someone stood next to you in a crowded train, would they feel neutral or comfortable? If the answer is anything less than that, start here. 2. Choose one signature scent, light and intentional. You don't need 10 colognes. You need one reliable identity. Look for something that feels like your personality turned into a fragrance. Fresh and clean, citrus/green, if you're more minimalist and sharp. Warm and woody, amber, cedar, if you're more grounded and calm. Then follow this rule. 1 to 3 light sprays max, wrist, neck, or chest. Never create a cloud. Anyone across the room shouldn't smell you. They should only notice when they're close enough to talk. That restraint is what makes it sophisticated. It feels discovered, not advertised. 3. Be consistent enough to be remembered. A truly attractive scent isn't random, it's recognizable. When people meet you several times and pick up the same subtle note, their brain starts to connect that smell with your presence. Every time he's around, it feels put together, calm, clean. That's how you become memorable without performing. So, use your scent consistently in social and professional settings. Go lighter in tight spaces, office, car, elevator. Slightly richer only in appropriate evening settings. Never as armor, always as polish. The quiet result. When you dial this in, people may never say, "Wow, your fragrance is amazing." Instead, they'll say things like, "You always seem so put together." There's just something calm about being around you. What they're really feeling is discipline in the details. And that's deeply stoic. You're not chasing compliments. You're honoring your standards. So ask yourself, if someone met you with their eyes closed, what would your scent tell them about your self-respect? Because when your independence, your body language, and your scent are all aligned, you stop blending into the background, and you become the kind of man people quietly remember. Next, in habit 4, we'll move from how you're remembered to how you handle the emotional energy of every room you enter. Habit 4, become unshakably present. There's a special kind of disrespect that almost everyone feels but rarely names. You're talking, and the other person is listening, but their eyes keep drifting. Their hand is on their phone. They're just waiting for their turn to speak. You walk away from that moment feeling it in your chest. I wasn't really there for them, and they weren't really there for me. Now flip it. Think about the last time someone gave you pure, uninterrupted attention. No scrolling, no glancing around the room, no half-listening. Just eyes on you, mind on you, presence fully here. You remember it, don't you? Because in a world where everyone is distracted, presence feels like a superpower, and the man who has it becomes quietly magnetic. Why ruthless presence is so attractive. Most people are split in 3 directions at all times, half in the past, replaying old mistakes, half in the future, worrying about what's next, and barely 10% here with the person in front of them. That's why conversations feel shallow. That's why so many interactions feel like static. Nobody is really in the moment. So when someone meets a man who is actually listening, actually noticing, actually here, he stands out without trying. The Stoic view is simple. Your attention is your life. Wherever you place it, you are telling the world, this matters. So when you give someone your full attention, you're not just being polite. You're quietly telling them, you matter right now. I am not somewhere else. I'm not waiting for a better moment or a better person. That feeling is addictive. People don't forget it. The subtle ways you leak presence. You don't need to be rude to make people feel unimportant. You just need to be fractured. Watch yourself in conversations. Do you glance at your phone just for a second? Do you scan the room while someone is talking in case something more interesting happens? Do you mentally rehearse what you'll say next instead of actually hearing them? You might not say it out loud, but your body is constantly whispering, this moment is not enough for me. Your background noise. There's somewhere else I'd rather be. and the person in front of you feels that. The Stoics would call this slavery to distraction. You're not directing your mind is dragging you. Magnetic people do the opposite. They choose where their attention goes, and then they lock in. How to build unshakable presence. 3 ruthless rules. This isn't about being intense or staring people down. It's about treating the present moment like it actually matters. Start here. 1. The no divided attention rule. When you're with someone, be with them. Phone off the table or out of sight. Screen flipped face down at minimum, ideally in your pocket or bag. No sneaky notifications, no checking mid-conversation just to see. Make this your internal line. If I'm not present enough to stay off my phone, I'm not present enough to be here. You'll be shocked how different people react when they feel you're not competing with a screen. 2. Listen all the way to the end. Most people listen for gaps, not for meaning. They're waiting for a silence so they can jump back to themselves. Do this instead. When someone speaks, listen for the emotion beneath the words. Let them finish completely. Pause for 1 beat before you respond. That tiny pause proves you weren't just waiting to talk. It gives you a moment to respond from clarity, not reflex. If you're not sure what to say, ask one simple, powerful question. Tell me more about that. It signals, I'm not done paying attention. Keep going. 3. Read the room like a Stoic presence isn't just being here. It's noticing what's actually happening. Train yourself to scan for subtle cues. When does someone's face tighten or relax? When does their voice drop or speed up? When do their eyes light up or go flat? Every 30 to 60 seconds, silently ask, how is the energy shifting right now? If you sense they're uncomfortable, ease off. If you sense they want to go deeper, ask a braver question. If you sense the group is drifting, bring it back with a grounded comment. This is emotional discipline in real time. You're not reacting to your own anxiety. You're responding to the truth of the moment. The result people actually feel when you become unshakably present. People open up faster around you. They share things they never tell anyone. They walk away from small interactions feeling strangely seen. They might not say, wow, your presence is incredible. But they will think, I don't know what it is about him. I just feel calmer, more real, more important when I'm around him. That's magnetic, and it's deeply Stoic. You're not escaping into fantasy or distraction. You're choosing to live fully in the only place life ever happens. Now, ask yourself, when someone talks to you, do they feel like they have a full person in front of them, or just a body with a busy mind? Because the more often you choose to be fully here, with your eyes, your mind, your attention, the less you'll need tricks, lines, or performance. Connection stops being something you force and becomes something that forms around you naturally. Next, in habit 5, we'll take this presence and sharpen it into something even rarer, a touch of mystery that keeps people wanting to know more without you chasing their curiosity. Habit 5. Carry a calm mystery. Some people walk into a room and feel like a finished book. You can read their entire life, from their social media, their oversharing, their constant commentary. Interesting for a moment, forgettable by the end of the week. Then there's the other kind of person. They don't announce everything they're doing. They aren't the loudest in the group chat. They don't rush to fill every silence with stories about themselves, and yet people wonder about them. Where has he been? What's he working on? What's his story? They lean in when he speaks, not because he's trying to be mysterious, but because he doesn't feel the need to be fully known by everyone. That's the quiet power of calm mystery. Why a touch of mystery is so attractive. Most people are terrified of being misunderstood or left out, so they try to pre-explain their entire life. Every plan posted, every emotion captioned, every thought dumped into conversation. It feels honest, but underneath it's often fear. Please don't misjudge me. Please don't forget me. Please don't think I'm boring. The result? There's nothing left to discover. The brain loves puzzles. It pays more attention to what it doesn't fully understand yet. So when you meet a man who shares selectively, doesn't rush to justify himself, doesn't narrate every step of his life, your mind stays engaged. Not because he's playing games, but because he lives with an inner sense of privacy and self-respect. The Stoic angle is simple. Not everything about you belongs to the crowd. You keep some of your thoughts, plans, and emotions for yourself and for the people who've actually earned access. That restraint feels powerful. What calm mystery is not being cold, acting distant on purpose, or refusing to open up at all. That's just fear in another costume. Mystery is about pace, not games. You don't dump your entire life story in the first conversation. You don't narrate every struggle online the same day it happens. You don't rush to fill silence with personal information just to feel interesting. You let people discover you layer by layer as trust deepens. You give depth in chapters, not in a desperate flood. How to build a calm, stoic mystery. 3 practical rules. You don't need to fake anything. You just need to stop overexposing yourself. 1. Share from depth, not from impulse. Before you talk about yourself, ask, am I sharing this because it's true and meaningful, or because I'm afraid of being overlooked? If it's fear, hold back. If it's meaningful, share, but shorter and simpler than you feel tempted to. Instead of a 10-minute monologue, give a clear, honest sentence or 2. If they're genuinely interested, they'll ask for more. Let their curiosity do some of the work. 2. Protect your plans until they're real. One of the fastest ways to kill both progress and mystery is to talk endlessly about what you're going to do. The new project, the new habit, the new version of you. The more you talk about it, the more your brain feels like it already happened, and the less impressive it becomes when you actually do it. Stoic rule. Build in silence. Show in reality. Talk less about unfinished plans. Let people discover what you've been working on when it's already moving, not because you're hiding, but because you respect your work enough not to use it as cheap social currency. 3. Keep an inner life that doesn't need an audience. Mystery isn't just what you withhold, it's also what you cultivate in private. Read things you don't post about. Train skills nobody claps for. Think deeply about ideas you're not rushing to debate online. This creates an inner world that's richer than your public image. So when people talk to you, they sense it. There's more going on here than what I can see. There's thought behind his words. There's depth behind his eyes. You don't need to perform it. You just have to have it. The quiet result. When you carry a calm mystery, you stop oversharing to feel relevant. You stop explaining yourself to people who haven't earned that access. You stop turning your life into content for strangers. Instead, you move through the world with a sense of inner reserve. People feel there's more to you than what they're seeing today. And that makes every interaction with you feel more valuable. They don't walk away thinking, I know everything about him. They walk away thinking, I want to know more. And that desire to know more is one of the most powerful forms of attraction, especially when it's grounded in calm, stoic self-respect, not ego. You're not hiding. You're honoring the parts of you that aren't for everyone. Next, in Habit 6, we'll take this inner mystery and combine it with something just as rare. Cultural wisdom. How to read the environment you're in so you always get it without trying and never feel out of place. Habit 6. Cultivate cultural wisdom. Mystery makes people curious about you. Cultural wisdom makes people feel safe being themselves around you. Picture this. You're in a group and the conversation drifts from work to travel to beliefs to how people live in other parts of the world. Most people either repeat cliches, make shallow jokes, or go quiet because they have nothing real to add. Then there's one person, calm, grounded, who doesn't talk like a know-it-all. But every time they speak, the room actually listens. They don't flex. They don't dominate. They just drop perspectives that feel wider. That's cultural wisdom, and it's one of the most quietly attractive traits you can build. What cultural wisdom really is, and why people feel it. Cultural wisdom is not memorizing flags, flexing random trivia, or acting like a global expert. It's something deeper. It's the ability to understand people beyond your own bubble, to stay open instead of defensive, curious instead of judgmental, thoughtful instead of reactive. Most people move through life with a hidden rule. If it's not like me, it's wrong. Cultural wisdom flips that. If it's not like me, it's interesting. Let me understand why. That shift makes your presence feel bigger than your street or country, makes your conversations feel richer, and makes people feel respected, not sized up. People are drawn to whoever makes them feel understood, not mocked, different, but still welcome. That's what you become when you carry cultural wisdom. The Stoic angle. The world as your city. The Stoics had a powerful idea. You're not just a citizen of one place. You're a citizen of the world. Marcus Aurelius didn't just see himself as Roman. He saw himself as part of the human community. Cultural wisdom is that idea. Lived, you stop seeing life as my people versus their people. You start seeing everyone as shaped by their history, upbringing, and environment. Instead of saying, that's stupid, you start asking, where does that come from? Your mind gets wider, your reactions get calmer, your judgments get slower. And that calm, wide view of the world, it quietly separates you from the average, reactive, small-minded energy most people are used to. How to build cultural wisdom, 3 grounded habits. You don't need money, a passport full of stamps, or elite education. You need curiosity, humility, and repetition. 1. Drop the illusion that your life is the default. Everything that feels normal to you, your food, your holidays, your family rules, your beliefs, is just one version of human life. Start catching your automatic judgments. Instead of, why would anyone do that? Ask, what story or environment would make that feel normal? Silently tell yourself, my way is a way, not the way. That tiny mental habit makes your mind flexible instead of rigid, and flexibility reads as emotional maturity. 2. Feed your mind from other worlds. If you only consume content from people exactly like you, your perspective stays small, even if you're smart. So, read books and stories from writers in other countries. Watch documentaries or channels that show real daily life elsewhere, not just tourist highlights. Learn a bit about other cultures' customs, greetings, and ideas of respect. You're not doing this to collect fun facts. You're doing it to feel other realities from the inside. Over time, you start to see a pattern. Different cultures, same human emotions. That gives you a calm, almost unshakable understanding of people, even when they act in ways you wouldn't. 3. Have real conversations with different kinds of people. Not debates, not performances. Conversations. Talk to people whose background is different, faith is different, politics are different, daily reality is different. And instead of trying to convert them, practice 3 moves. Ask, what's something about your culture people often get wrong? Listen, without loading your gun to fire back. Reflect. So you're saying that. Before you share your own view, you're not agreeing with everything. You're proving you're strong enough to hear first. Most people are used to being talked over or corrected. So when they meet someone who is genuinely curious and non-defensive, you stand out immediately. Not because you're louder, but because you feel wider. The secret ingredient: humility. Without humility, cultural wisdom turns into arrogance. I've read more, I've traveled more, I understand more than you. That's not attractive. That's ego in a new costume. True wisdom stays a student. No matter how much I've seen, there's more I don't know. Every person I meet knows something I don't. I don't use knowledge to feel superior. I use it to understand better. When people feel that from you, smart and humble, your energy becomes rare. You're not trying to win, you're trying to grow, and that's magnetic, the quiet result. As you cultivate cultural wisdom, you'll notice you judge less and understand more. You're harder to offend and easier to talk to. Your conversations feel deeper, not heavier. People feel safe being themselves around you, even if they're nothing like you. You won't need to say, "I'm open-minded." They'll just feel it. You won't need to claim, "I respect all cultures." It will leak through your questions, your tone, your patience. In a world where opinions are loud but understanding is rare, you become the person with quiet, grounded insight. Someone whose words carry weight because they come from a mind that has actually looked beyond itself. You're not just attractive because you look good or sound confident. You're attractive because you move through the world with depth, nuance, and respect. Next, in Habit 7, we'll zoom in from the whole world to the person right in front of you and see how to handle emotion and conflict without ever losing your center. 7. Lead with compassionate strength. There's a special kind of loneliness that hits even in a crowded room. You're there, you're smiling, you're fine, and still, no one really asks, "How are you actually doing?" Not, "You good?" as they walk away. Not a polite check-in, a real question, a real presence. You remember the rare people who do that, the ones who notice when your energy dips, who hear the quiet in your voice that everyone else ignores, who stay an extra 2 minutes when you say, "Yeah, I'm okay," but your eyes say, "No, I'm not." Those people are unforgettable. That's the heartbeat of compassionate strength, a grounded, stable presence that doesn't just take up space, it makes space for others. Why compassion, done right, is insanely attractive. Most people are stuck in survival mode. 1. Proving themselves. 2. Defending their ego. 3. Protecting their image. So when someone else is in pain, they either minimize it, "You'll be fine, don't overthink." Dodge it, "Damn, that sucks anyway." Change topic, or fix it fast so they don't have to feel it. It's not evil, it's fear. They don't know how to sit with discomfort, yours or their own. So when you show up differently, calm, steady, unafraid of emotion, you instantly stand out. Because compassion does 3 things. It makes people feel seen instead of scanned. It makes people feel safe instead of judged. It makes your presence feel warm, not just strong. Strength alone can be intimidating. Softness alone can be walked over. Compassionate strength is both, a steady mind and a soft heart. That combination is rare and magnetic. The Stoic angle, soft heart, sharp mind. Stoicism is often misunderstood as cold or detached. In reality, the great Stoics cared deeply about people. They just refused to drown in emotion. They aimed for this: clear thinking instead of panic, wise action instead of emotional impulse, concern for others without abandoning themselves. That's what your compassion should look like. Not emotional chaos, not martyrdom, not "I'll destroy myself to save you," but "I care about you, I'm here, and I'll stay grounded enough to be useful." That's what makes your kindness feel safe, not needy. Where most people ruin compassion, let's be brutally honest. Compassion turns unattractive when it becomes people-pleasing, saying yes to everything so no one is upset with you. Savior complex, trying to fix everyone to feel valuable. Boundaryless empathy, absorbing everyone's pain until you're empty. You end up exhausted, resentful, and quietly bitter. You start thinking, why does no one show up for me like I show up for them? Because what you're calling compassion is often unspoken self-abandonment. Stoic compassion is different. It says, I will offer you my presence, not my destruction. How to build compassionate strength. 3 clear rules. You don't need to become a therapist. You just need to become solid and kind at the same time. 1. See the emotion beneath the performance. When someone snaps, withdraws, or acts off, don't just react to the behavior. Ask yourself, what might they be feeling underneath this? Then, instead of lecturing or joking it away, try a simple line. You seem a bit off today. Everything okay? You don't seem like yourself. Want to talk or you'd rather have space? You're not prying. You're opening a door. If they walk through it, great. If not, they'll still remember that you noticed. 2. Validate without collapsing. You don't have to fully agree with someone to acknowledge their pain. Avoid these killers. It's not that serious. Others have it worse. Just be positive. Instead, keep it simple and grounded. That sounds heavy. I get why you're drained. That's a lot to carry. I'm glad you told me. You're not solving. You're not over-identifying. You're saying your feelings are real and I can handle hearing them. That alone is powerful. 3. Set firm, kind boundaries. Compassion without boundaries is self-destruction. You can be caring and clear. I'm here for you, but I can't talk for hours every night. Let's find a time that works. I care about what you're going through, but I'm not okay with being yelled at. I want to support you, but I also need to protect my own mental health. You're not rejecting them. You're refusing to join them in chaos. That's what makes your help sustainable. You don't burn out, disappear, or secretly resent them. The quiet result people feel when you lead with compassionate strength. People vent less and open up more. They feel safe telling you the truth instead of the highlight reel. They feel respected, not managed or fixed. They might not say, "You're so compassionate." They'll say things like, "I feel calm around you. I feel like I can talk to you. You don't make me feel stupid for feeling what I feel." Your presence becomes a kind of emotional shelter, not because you're perfect, but because you're grounded, kind, and not afraid of pain. That's one of the most powerful Stoic forms of attraction, a strong person with a steady mind and a soft heart, who can look at the chaos of the world and still choose, "I will not become cruel. I will stay kind, with boundaries, with wisdom, and with strength." Next, in Habit 8, we'll turn that inner compassion inward and build a Stoic self-care routine that keeps you strong enough to show up for anyone, including yourself. Habit 8. Radiate Stoic laughter and joy. You've felt this before. A person walks into the room and suddenly, everything feels lighter. The tension drops a little. People smile more. Even the awkward silence doesn't feel so heavy. They're not doing a stand-up routine. They're not the loudest. They're not acting like a clown for attention. But there's a quiet joy about them. The way they laugh, the way they handle small problems, the way nothing seems to fully steal their spirit. Now compare that to the other type, the person who turns every conversation into a complaint, every small inconvenience into a tragedy, every moment into something to be stressed about. Who do people want to be around? Exactly. Joy, done right, is magnetic. Why real joy is insanely attractive. Life is already heavy. Everyone is carrying something: stress, regret, pressure, disappointment, fear. Most people cope by complaining non-stop, numbing out on their phone, or pretending to be fine while their face screams otherwise. So when someone shows up who can acknowledge reality, still find something human and light in it, and laugh with life instead of constantly fighting it, that feels rare. Joy sends 3 powerful signals. 1. You're not fragile. If you can still laugh, you're not completely broken by difficulty. 2. You're safe to be around. People don't feel like they'll be dragged into yet another emotional storm. 3. You're human, not a stone statue. You can be strong and still warm. The Stoic version of joy isn't childish. It's this. Life is hard, I won't deny that, but I refuse to live permanently in bitterness. That refusal is deeply attractive. The Stoic angle. Joy as a disciplined choice. Stoicism is often misunderstood as cold and emotionless. In reality, the Stoics weren't against joy at all. They were against being controlled by emotions. They knew you can't control everything that happens, but you can control your response. Sometimes that response is calm seriousness. Sometimes it's firm action, and sometimes it's a small, defiant laugh. I won't let this own me. That kind of joy is not delusion, it's resilience. It says, this situation is real, my spirit is too, where humor becomes unattractive. Let's be honest, not all laughter is attractive. Laughter becomes repulsive when it's constant self-deprecation. I'm so useless, I ruin everything. Deflection, if I joke, no one will see I'm hurting. Cruelty, laughing at people, not with them. Or pure performance, desperate jokes to stay liked. That's not joy, that's fear in costume. The goal is not to be the funny one. The goal is to be light without being fake, playful without being hollow. How to cultivate Stoic laughter and joy. 3 grounded habits. You don't need to become a comedian. You just need to make space for lightness in how you live. 1. Laugh with your problems. Not instead of them when something goes wrong, small things especially. You have 2 options. Spiral into drama, or acknowledge it, then soften it with a little humor. You miss a train, spill coffee, press the wrong button. Instead of mentally beating yourself up, try, of course it was going to be me today. Elite move. If there was one wrong option, destiny knew I'd pick it. You're not mocking yourself viciously. You're signaling to your brain, we're allowed to smile at this and move on. Feel the frustration, then give yourself permission to release it. Joy needs that space. 2. Share light, not just heaviness. If every time you talk to someone you're downloading stress and complaints, they'll eventually associate you with weight, not warmth. Be honest about struggles, but also notice small, good moments out loud. Share things that made you genuinely smile. Drop in playful observations that don't come from sarcasm or bitterness. Simple lines like, that was a small win, but I'll take it. Today was rough, but that sunset tried its best to apologize. You're not pretending life is perfect. You're refusing to let negativity own 100% of the airtime. That balance feels emotionally mature, not fake positive. 3. Protect the sources of your joy. Joy needs fuel. If your entire diet is angry content, outrage, constant bad news, and people who live to complain, of course your spirit feels heavy. Stoic joy isn't naive. It's selective. Limit how much you bathe your mind in rage and doom. Spend more time with people who can laugh without being cruel. Create small daily rituals that genuinely lift you. Music, walks, hobbies, creativity. Not as an escape from life, as a way to remind yourself life still has color. It takes courage to say, I won't let my inner world be shaped only by darkness. That courage is felt. The quiet result people experience when you cultivate laughter and joy in this way. People feel lighter after being around you, not drained. They're more open, more relaxed, more themselves. They start to associate your presence with relief, not pressure. They might not say, "You're so joyful." They'll say things like, "I always feel better after talking to you." You make things feel less heavy somehow. Even when stuff goes wrong, you stay human. That's one of the strongest forms of attraction. You don't just look good. Life feels better when you're in it. And that's deeply Stoic. You're not denying pain, you're refusing to worship it. You're choosing a spirit that bends, but doesn't break. Next, in habit 9, we'll turn that same respect inward and build Stoic self-care so you don't just lift others. You actually know how to protect and rebuild yourself too. 9. Practice ruthless, Stoic self-care. You can't be magnetic if you're burned out, brittle, and running on fumes. Think about this. You're there for everyone. You answer late-night calls. You say yes when you're exhausted. You listen, help, support, show up. But when it's time to take care of you, you push it to later. Sleep later. Food later. Training later. Rest later. And then you wonder why you feel drained in social situations, short-tempered over small things, dull, heavy, or low energy in your own body. Here's the brutal truth. You're not low energy by nature. You're just spending it on everything except yourself. That's where Stoic self-care comes in. Not bubble baths, not spa days, not treat yourself excuses. Stoic self-care is self-respect in action, the disciplined maintenance of your mind, body, and spirit so you can actually live like the man you claim you want to be. Why real self-care is deeply attractive. Most people live in quiet self-abandonment. They take better care of their phone battery than their sleep, their social image than their nervous system, strangers online than their own body. They confuse self-care with comfort, scrolling, junk food, mindless entertainment, buying things to feel better. But that's not care. That's sedation. Real self-care sends 3 powerful signals. 1. You have standards. You don't treat your body and mind like a trash bin. 2. You're dependable. You're not constantly collapsing, canceling, or crashing. 3. You respect your future self. You're not sacrificing tomorrow just to escape tonight. People feel that. They may not see your routines, your bedtime, your training, your private disciplines, but they feel the result. Clear eyes, grounded energy, a presence that doesn't feel fried. That's quietly magnetic. The Stoic angle. Care as duty, not indulgence. The Stoics didn't pamper themselves, but they absolutely took care of their instrument, their body, their mind, their character. To them, self-care wasn't, "I deserve a treat because life is hard." It was, "I have a duty to myself and to others to stay capable." You can't lead, love, support, build, or protect if you're always half asleep, overstimulated, and emotionally wrecked. So Stoic self-care sounds more like, "I go to bed because tomorrow matters. I train my body because I may need it. I guard my mind because what I consume shapes who I become." It's not glamorous. It's responsibility, and responsibility, when lived with strength, is very attractive. Where most people ruin self-care. Self-care becomes unattractive when it turns into constant escape. I'm self-caring by avoiding all difficulty. Laziness disguised as healing, or endless mental health days with zero effort to actually rebuild. You don't become magnetic by checking out. You become magnetic by recharging so you can check in fully. Stoic self-care isn't about making life easier. It's about making you stronger. How to practice ruthless, Stoic self-care. 3 non-negotiables. You don't need a 50-step ritual. You need a small set of unbreakable basics. 1. Protect your sleep like it's sacred. You cannot out-philosophize exhaustion. No matter how wise you are, If you're sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night, living on caffeine and chaos, you'll be more reactive, more insecure, more easily thrown off. So set a Stoic rule. Choose a consistent bedtime window and honor it. Get your phone away from your face 30 to 60 minutes before sleep. Treat late-night dopamine loops, scrolling random videos, as self-sabotage, not relaxing. Sleep is not a luxury. It's the foundation for your mood, your focus, your patience, your ability to stay calm when life hits. You want unshakable presence and calm. Start by not being chronically exhausted. 2. Move your body like you're preparing for a harder life. You don't need to be a bodybuilder, but you do need to train, lift, walk, run, stretch, something. Physical training sends powerful messages to your brain. We can handle discomfort. We can push and not quit. We are not fragile. That confidence leaks into every area of your life. Make it simple. 3 to 4 sessions a week. Strength plus some form of conditioning. Even on low days, a short walk, some push-ups, basic movement. You're not just working out. You're telling your nervous system. We don't fold at the first sign of effort, and people feel that in how you carry yourself. 3. Create a daily mental cleanup. Your mind collects dirt like a floor. If you never sweep it, you walk around with old arguments, imagined scenarios, fears, regrets, constant noise. Stoic self-care includes a simple mental hygiene practice, 5 to 10 minutes of journaling. What am I honestly worried about? What is actually in my control here? What's one small action I'll take tomorrow? Or 5 to 10 minutes of silent reflection, meditation, watching your thoughts without obeying all of them. You're training yourself to see clearly instead of being yanked around by every passing emotion. That clarity makes you calmer. And calm is extremely attractive in a world of panic. The ruthless part: cut what drains you. Self-care isn't just adding good habits, it's cutting what silently destroys you. That might mean less time with people who constantly complain, disrespect, or drain you. Less content that floods you with anger and envy. Fewer late nights that leave you wrecked the next day. Ask yourself, what am I doing regularly that makes me weaker, not stronger? Then be ruthless. Not emotional, not dramatic, just committed. Cut, limit, or replace those inputs. You're not being selfish. You're making sure you don't become a hollow version of yourself. The quiet result. When you practice ruthless, stoic self-care, your energy stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling steady. Your presence stops feeling drained and starts feeling charged but calm. You stop begging life for easier circumstances and start building a stronger you. People might not know your routines. They won't see the reps, the early nights, the solo walks, the quiet journaling. But they'll notice. You recover faster from setbacks. You don't snap as easily. You show up more consistently. You carry a quiet strength that feels earned, not faked. That's one of the deepest forms of attraction. You're not just available. You're ready. Not perfect. Not invincible. Just steadily, visibly taking care of the man you are becoming. Because if you won't invest in yourself, why should anyone else believe you're worth investing in? Next, in Habit 10, we'll turn this self-respect outward and build the kind of standards and boundaries that make people treat you differently the moment they enter your life. Habit 10. Master emotional intelligence and social radar. Some people walk into a tense moment and instantly make it worse. One wrong joke, one sharp comment, one defensive reaction. The room freezes. People shut down. You feel that invisible wall go up. And then there's the other kind of person. Same tension, same awkward silence. But they stay calm. They say one grounded sentence, or they just hold steady, listen, and shift the energy with a small move. No drama, No panic, no fake positivity. The moment softens. People feel understood. Everyone breathes again. You walk away thinking, I don't know what it is about them, but they just handle people better. That something is emotional intelligence and social radar. And in terms of silent attractiveness, it's a cheat code. Why this habit is insanely attractive. Most people are emotional pinballs. Whatever they feel, they become. Angry, they lash out. Insecure, they start performing. Jealous, they attack or withdraw. Embarrassed, they get defensive or cruel. They're not choosing their response. They're being dragged by it. On top of that, they have almost no awareness of the room. They miss when a joke went too far. They keep talking when someone is clearly uncomfortable. They dominate when they should listen. They go quiet when their voice is actually needed. The result? Their presence feels unsafe. You never fully know which version of them you're going to get. Now flip it. A person who is emotionally intelligent and socially aware, feels emotions fully, but doesn't let them drive, senses what's happening in the room, adjusts without being fake, brings calm instead of extra chaos. That combination is rare, and people are drawn to it, hard. The Stoic rule, emotions as signals, not commands. The Stoics never said, don't feel. They said, in effect, feel everything, obey nothing blindly. You still get angry, sad, anxious, jealous, but you treat those emotions as information, not orders. I'm angry. Something I value feels threatened. I'm jealous. There's something I want but haven't built yet. I'm anxious. My mind is in the future, not the present. When you relate to your emotions this way, you stop exploding, you stop shutting down, you stop misreading every feeling as an emergency. You become steady. And in a world full of emotional whiplash, steady is incredibly attractive. Social radar. Reading the room like a grown man. If emotional intelligence is handling your feelings, social radar is understanding everyone else's. It's the ability to quietly notice when someone's smile turns slightly stiff, when a topic is clearly draining someone, when a person wants to speak but keeps getting cut off, when a group needs to move on or sit with something a bit longer. You're not psychic, you're just paying attention. Most people bulldoze through social moments, then wonder why their presence feels off. A man with strong social radar does the opposite. He sees. He doesn't need to be the center of attention. He becomes the center of balance. How to build emotional intelligence and social radar. 3 core practices. You don't need therapy degrees or psychology textbooks. You need consistent, honest training. 1. Insert a pause between feeling and reaction. Make this a personal rule. When I feel a strong emotion, I won't respond instantly. Angry text, tense conversation, embarrassing moment. Do one of these. Take 3 slow breaths, sip water and let 10 seconds pass. Say, give me a second, out loud if you need to. That tiny gap is where your power lives. Without it, you're just a reaction machine. With it, you become someone who responds from choice, not from chaos. People feel that difference. You stop being unpredictable and start being reliable. 2. Name your internal weather. You can't manage what you refuse to see. A few times a day, check in quietly. What am I feeling right now? Where do I feel it in my body? What might have triggered this? You're not overthinking, you're studying yourself. Over time, you'll notice patterns. Certain people always spike your anxiety. Certain situations always trigger defensiveness. Certain times of day you're more irritable. Once you see the pattern, you can prepare. More rest before tough conversations, clearer boundaries with specific people, fewer big decisions when you're depleted. That self-awareness makes your energy feel cleaner to others. Less random, less explosive. 3. Run social scans in real time. In any group setting, friends, family, work, practice watching the energy like a stoic observer. Quietly ask yourself, who looks uncomfortable right now? Who keeps getting interrupted? Did that joke land or did the vibe drop? Does this person need advice or just to be heard? You're not trying to control everything. You're simply staying aware. Sometimes that awareness means changing the topic. Sometimes it means stepping in gently. Hey, let them finish. Sometimes it means saying nothing. Just holding calm eye contact and letting someone know you're really listening. The more you do these social scans, the more natural your timing becomes. You stop stepping on emotional landmines. You start being the one who lowers the temperature, the quiet result people feel as your emotional intelligence and social radar grow. Fewer arguments explode out of nowhere. You regret far fewer things said in anger. People open up to you without knowing why. You're trusted in tense moments, not avoided. You won't need to say, I'm emotionally mature. Your calm will say it. Your timing will say it. Your ability to hold your center while everyone else tips over will say it. You become the person people look toward when things get weird, heated, or fragile, because they know you won't pour gasoline on the fire. In a world full of emotional outbursts, passive-aggressive comments, and ego battles, you stand out. Not by being louder, but by being in control. Not cold, not distant, just firmly in charge of yourself and deeply tuned into everyone else. Next, in Habit 11, we'll lock all of this in with one of the rarest traits left today: unshakable consistency, the habit that quietly makes everything you've built actually believable to others. Habit 11. Become relentlessly consistent. This is the habit that decides whether everything you've built so far is real or just a phase. You've seen this story 1,000 times. Someone starts strong. New gym routine, new mindset, new social habits. For 2 weeks, they're unstoppable. Then life gets busy. 1 missed day becomes 3. 3 becomes I'll start again next month. Soon, it's like that version of them never existed. From the outside, it looks like this. Different goals every season, different new me every few months. Big talk, small follow-through. And slowly, people stop believing them. Not because they're bad, because they're inconsistent. Now think of the rare person who isn't the loudest, isn't the most dramatic, but is always doing the work. They say they're training. You see them training months later. They say they're building something. It's still moving, quietly. They say they value honesty, effort, respect. Their behavior matches. Over time, that's unshakable consistency, and it's one of the most attractive traits you can ever develop. Why consistency is the ultimate magnet charm can be faked. Confidence can be performed. Mystery can be acted out. But consistency, that has to be earned. It sends 3 powerful signals. You're trustworthy. You do what you say, long after the feeling is gone. You're stable. People don't feel like they have to guess who you'll be today. You're serious about your life. You're not just flirting with growth. You're committed. People might admire talent, they might enjoy charm, but they trust consistency, and trust is what makes attraction last. The Stoic angle. Your life is built in repetitions. The Stoics didn't care who you were, in theory. They cared about what you did every day. They knew one brave act doesn't make you courageous. One honest moment doesn't make you virtuous. One disciplined week doesn't make you strong. Character is repetition. You become what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally feel inspired by. So if your habits keep collapsing, it's not just a productivity problem. It's an identity problem. You're training your brain to believe, I don't finish, I don't stick. I'm the guy who starts strong and fades. Unshakable consistency is how you break that script, where most people destroy their consistency. Let's be brutally honest. People don't fail because the habit is impossible. They fail because their rules are emotional. I'll do it when I feel motivated. I'll train when I have time. I'll journal when my mind is clear. I'll sleep earlier when life calms down. Translation: I'll be consistent when it's convenient. Life hears that and laughs. You get hit with stress, drama, fatigue, distraction, and your habits vanish. The problem isn't you. It's that your system is built on mood, not on non-negotiables. Stoic consistency flips it. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" You start asking, "Did I honor my standard today?" How to build unshakable consistency. 3 ruthless practices. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. You need a small, brutal, honest system that you'll actually keep. 1. Make your floor embarrassingly small, but unbreakable. Most people set ceilings. I'll read for an hour, train for 90 minutes, meditate every day. Then they miss one huge day and do nothing instead. Set a floor instead: 1 page of reading, 5 to 10 minutes of movement, 3 to 5 minutes of journaling. Your rule? No matter how tired, busy, or unmotivated I am, I hit my floor. On good days, you'll do more. On bad days, you'll at least do something. You're not proving how intense you can be. You're proving how reliable you can be. That's what rewires your identity. 2. Track actions, not feelings. Feelings are chaos. Numbers are honest. Create a simple way to see your consistency. A calendar with X's on days you hit your basics. A small habit tracker in your notes app. A journal where you write, "Kept the promise, broke the promise." The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness. When you see 3 empty days in a row, you can't lie to yourself. You face the truth. I'm slipping. That sting is useful if you use it to recommit instead of shame yourself. Stoic rule: I will not negotiate with excuses. I will rebuild today, not next Monday. 3. Let your identity lag behind your actions. Most people want the identity first. I'm disciplined, I'm consistent, I'm different now. But identity follows proof. So stop announcing your new self to everyone. Just quietly rack up days. Tell yourself, I'm not the disciplined guy yet. I'm the guy who is earning that title today. Day by day. Rep by rep. Promise kept by promise kept. Over weeks, something shifts. You stop wondering, can I stick to this? You start knowing, of course I'll stick to this. This is what I do now. That quiet inner certainty is more powerful than any motivational speech. And people can feel it. The quiet result people experience when you become relentlessly consistent. You stop being potential and start being proof. Your words stop sounding like hype and start sounding like reality. People trust you more. Friends, partners, colleagues, because your patterns are stable. You might not flaunt your habits. You might not post your progress. You might not even talk much about what you're building. But your life, over time, will expose the work. Better energy, clearer thinking, deeper presence, stronger boundaries, visible growth. And here's the part most people miss. Consistency isn't just attractive because of the results. It's attractive because of what it says about your character. It says, I don't quit on myself. I don't live only by moods. I can be counted on, even by me. That's rare, and rare is magnetic. So ask yourself, are you building a life people can trust, or just a highlight reel they can watch? Because when all 11 of these habits sit on top of unshakable consistency, you don't have to convince anyone you've changed. Your presence will say it for you. In the outro, we'll pull everything together so you can turn these habits into a daily standard, not just a video you watched and forgot. Outro, don't just watch this. Wear it. If you're still here, you're not average. The average viewer taps out when something hits too close. When it stops feeling like entertainment and starts feeling like a mirror. You didn't. You sat through independence, presence, scent, mystery, wisdom, compassion, joy, self-care, emotional mastery, and relentless consistency. That tells me something. You're not just curious about being attractive. You're tired of living as a lighter version of the man you know you could be. So let's be brutally clear. These 11 habits are not a personality costume. They're not tricks. They're not a social mask. They are standards. Independence. You stop begging the world to choose you. Silent elegance. Your body stops leaking insecurity. Subtle scent. Your self-respect shows up before your words. Presence. Your attention becomes rare and valuable. Calm mystery. You protect your inner world instead of selling it. Cultural wisdom. You move through the world with depth, not ignorance. Compassionate strength. Your heart stays soft, your spine stays firm. Stoic joy. You refuse to worship bitterness. Self-care. You stop abandoning yourself. Emotional intelligence. You stop being dragged by feelings. Consistency. You stop being potential and start being proof. That is a different kind of man. Not a louder one, a heavier one. Your 7-day contract. Watching this doesn't change you. Keeping a promise does. So here's your challenge, the part where most people mentally check out. For the next 7 days, pick one habit from this video. Not 5, not all 11. 1. Maybe it's independence. You stop over-explaining and apologizing for existing. Maybe it's presence. You put your phone away every time someone talks to you. Maybe it's self-care. You finally fix your sleep like your life depends on it. Maybe it's consistency. You set a tiny daily floor and do it every single day. Choose one. Define one small, clear, daily action. Then do it every day for 7 days, whether you feel like it or not. That's how identity actually changes. Not in your head, in your patterns. When you've done it, really done it, come back to this video and comment unshakable. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. So that there's public proof you didn't just watch this, you worked with it. If this hit you harder than you expected, save this video. Rewatch the habit that exposed you the most. That's the one your old self is afraid of. And if you want more content that doesn't sugarcoat growth, that doesn't sell you shortcuts, that treats you like someone capable of real discipline, subscribe to Stoic Inspire. This channel isn't here to hype you up for 10 minutes and leave you the same. It's here to remind you again and again that you are one standard away, one habit away, one kept promise away from becoming a man even your past self wouldn't recognize. You don't need to announce that transformation. Let your presence say it. Let your discipline say it. Let your life say it. Until the next video, stay grounded, stay disciplined, and don't betray the man you're becoming.